Hey everyone, it's James of geometricharts.com. About 6:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, March 27th, the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. And actually a quick correction, it's actually the daily chart right now. But anyways, tomato. But the thing is that, well, first I have to say that's not investment advice. Second of all, to get to the numbers, we're very close to kind of some resistance here in Bitcoin on the Bitfinex exchange. And I think if Bitcoin can break above the prior top right here, about 4281, and do so like with some conviction and actually stay trading above that area, that could be positive on the short term. The reason why you see so many blue lines here is that we are literally operating on the same identical frequency that we were at 6,000. Now, there's no way in the world that's a coincidence. Literally the same identical frequency. Even in the lagging indicators, I found identical frequencies. Just in the RSI, the stochastics have it as well too, and the MACD almost looks pretty much the same. All under a larger like bearish divergence line since the backside of the 20,000, and that's why I say if Bitcoin can honestly pump from this zone and hold above like the I only had one line. I guess one of my lines got deleted on one of my prior charts, but it's actually going to be closer to about like 4750 to about 4800 Bitfinex is that outer line of the downtrend line set. Now, we are at the first one, and what used to be about 43 to 4400 in Bitfinex has now been reduced down to about 4150 due to price just chopping to the right. So basically into time and space. It's why, you know, when I talk with my subs as well, I talk about not getting hung up on specific prices. People get hung up on prices, but things can change, especially if the market starts to go horizontal. And this market has definitely gone horizontal, and I think it will continue to go horizontal for a very long time. I think the best case scenario for Bitcoin is that it breaks through 4,800, holds trading through there. Maybe we come back up like somewhere in the 5,000s to relieve a lot of the selling pressure. And then from there, we roll over pretty hard in this market. But the one thing I see here is that the long to short ratio is highly in favor of longs, and it's been there for a very long time. There are a lot of people pushing on the long side. And just something that, you know, I've learned from my experience, especially from learning from other big traders in the markets, that leads to an opportunity to create chaos. When everyone's doing the happy dance, everyone feels confident that can only go one direction. A lot of the retail traders, or AKA guppies, what the term for any retail trader in the market is. When they all start feeling happy and they all start extrapolating like all these wild and crazy price points in the sky, like everything's pie in the sky, that leads to a ground to essentially create the chaos so you can create yourself opportunity in the near future. So basically scare the hell out of everyone as fast as possible and then look to come in and scoop up while they're basically puking. You're essentially like, you know, gobbling everything up as best as you possibly can with a smile on your face. So, you know, I think short term, if Bitcoin can show some promise above like 4150 Bitfinex, that's going to be a positive sign for the short term. But the only, like the biggest red flag I see here is how high the long to short ratio is. That is a giant red flag just from anything else. It doesn't mean that the top is right here. It's just a giant red flag that anytime you see like this type of very bullish sentiment, you need to start getting worried. And the same thing happens with the stock market. The same thing happens with commodities. It's for any asset. It doesn't matter whether it's crypto or, you know, it just doesn't matter. The point is that is something that I think everyone can just utilize, just to kind of gauge. Like when everyone's bragging, when everyone feels like the only way it can go is up, you better start to worry. And the same thing goes for the inverse. If everyone's very bearish, everyone can only see downside, then you start to think, okay, like I want to be a contrarian here. So, and it doesn't always work out. It's not like a fail proof. Otherwise, that would be, but it is like, it is like one of the top tools, I guess I could say, to utilize in order to protect yourself against more risk than you need to take. So I'll leave it at that when it comes to sentiment and understanding like how the market is reacting. You got to have your pulse on it. You got to be in the forums, or you got to pay attention to articles, etc., and just to kind of keep a pulse on whatever you're trading, Bitcoin, any of the cryptos, commodities, stock market, etc. I guess for everything, but not to diverge from everything. So 4,100 area, I think if we bust above that, that'll be a positive sign in the short term. The longer term is going to have to bust outside of about the 4,800 mark. If that happens, I definitely think we're going to see a bigger retracement of this massive selling wall that we had in this market, and we will just have a bigger relief rally. But I do not believe it will be the bottom in Bitcoin. I think it will only be a relief rally, and that is it. So, well, I'll say that now, because if the momentum dramatically changes, and I mean we start smashing through the bearish divergence lines and we get above them and we stay above them for an extended period of time and we have that strength, then I'll change my mind. But if I see one of these wild and crazy spikes like this crap back here, hang on, like this crap back here, this crap right here, then I already know what's going to happen. Again, it's been the same thing over and over and over again, and we're literally operating on the same identical frequency. Those are just copy and pasted lines. Like, that's how ridiculous it is. But anyways, so that's pretty much it, like for the short term, for the bullish scenario. If we fail here, then I think it's going to be a giant red flag. As I think what we're doing is essentially like, this is our high, this is possibly our weaker reaction to the market, and obviously it's going to show a sign of weakness. Now, whether this is the point to where the market's going to dump out and go sub 3,000 or not, I don't know. I would probably look for a revisit of like the 3,200 area and then see how price reacts to that if we start dropping off pretty heavily. Like if we start seeing some nasty red candles to the downside, like something like, very similar to like this or that, then obviously that's going to be a giant red flag in the market. But anyways, the volume has been high, volume sticking there. Again, there's so many articles and stuff about the fraud with the volume reporting and etc. So who knows how real it really is, but at the end of the day, it's been pretty indicative like of other things like in the past. So I'll keep using it or paying attention to it for as much as possible until it really starts to prove otherwise. So anyways, that's pretty much it for today. I will do another video on Friday. A lot of the alts are popping as well too, like EOS is over 14% today. Very convincing move. Not a lot of strength behind it, but we are starting to make some larger relief rallies in some of the other coins. So if Bitcoin can hold above this range, it may start to follow its, I don't want to call them siblings, but in this market, Bitcoin is like grandpa, as like the juggernaut of like moving the market around, and then the other coins are like the little grandchildren, like running around like maniacs, like bouncing all over the walls. And obviously you can see that with these wild swings. When Bitcoin's up 2%, you got EOS up 14%, XLM up 5 almost, NEO like 4.5. You got Bitcoin Cash up 6, ADA up 8.7% just about. So again, the alts definitely carry more reward, but the risk is also higher too. This is a double-edged sword with those crazy things. But anyways, I think Bitcoin's a nice barometer of like how the market is as a whole. I think it's a nice baseline for everything. So that's why I focus on it. I don't focus on the alts. They can make crazy wild swings. But I do that with my subs. I cover like a lot of those cryptos like Bitcoin Cash, ADA, Ethereum, EOS, Litecoin, IOTA, NEO, XLM, and XRP as well too. But anyways, that is it. And I hope everybody has a great day, great night, depending on where you are in the world. I do appreciate your time, your support. And again, on Friday will be the next video.